Hello and welcome. This is a commentary and first impressions after playing Farming Simulator 2015 for a week. This is my first ever commentary, and it's actually the first time I've ever played a Farming Simulator game, so let's get stuck in and see what it's all about. The main object of the game is to run your farm and basically be as successful as possible. Really, the player is given free rein to do what they want, to choose to specialise in a particular type of crop, or to potentially do forestry, which I understand is the brand new aspect that you can do in Farming Simulator 2015. There's 3 different difficulty levels, easy, medium and hard of course. Hard, you make a lot less money, you can't borrow as much money, and you start with less equipment. Easy, obviously, it's the opposite. You can borrow more money, and the crops that you grow are a lot more profitable. To begin with, I've been playing it for a week. I've played just over 45 hours on the career and playing on normal difficulty. People think Farming Simulator, and a lot of people will immediately think, that doesn't sound like a particularly fun game. And I was not entirely sure what to make of it to begin with. However, it's a very different type of game. Something that I really liked is it's a very relaxing and chill type of game. There's no real fail conditions as such. I mean, you go into debt with the bank, but it's not like someone comes after you with a crowbar or anything. There's no chance of you dying, so really it's all about, how good are you at managing your farm and making the money. But if you're not doing a great job, it's not too much of a problem. It's really a game about playing at your own pace, and I think that's a very cool thing to have for this type of game. So far I've really only stuck with doing 3 different crops: barley, wheat and canola, and I have dabbled a little bit in the cow husbandry, but I only have 10 cows, and so really, that's making $3,500 a day, and it doesn't take too much to look after them, to make sure that they're fed, that they've got straw and that kind of thing. It's more about the investment in the machinery and transporting the machinery to the different areas where cows are, or the different fields you have. Graphically, the game is pretty nice. There's no explosions, of course, but there's some very nice effects used when you're gathering the crops and things like that. One of the nice things about the game is the day-night cycle, and you can speed this up. You can speed up time to help make your crops grow faster, and you can have it run at real time. Most of the time you control the speed based on whether you need to harvest crops or you just need them to grow. One thing that is a bit strange though is time of day moves quickly, but vehicles don't. So if you speed up time, you're not actually speeding up the speed that your workers work or the speed that the vehicles move. So you can have accelerated time, and this will encourage the crops to grow or to allow prices to change in the market. But as I say, the vehicles, they stay at basically real-time speeds. I have been streaming this game live to people, and the thing that I think you could say that best describes this game is it is a bit like an RPG without the fighting. It's very much kind of a grinding experience. You're effectively harvesting a field to earn money, to buy bigger equipment, better equipment, to be able to harvest bigger fields or harvest more quickly to earn more money. And it's just not exactly an endless cycle, but that's kind of how it feels. Now, some people might think that doesn't sound very fun, but to me, it's actually been quite a joy to play, and I'm looking forward to playing it a lot more. I think my main criticism for the game is that though it has some pretty good tutorials to explain how to use certain equipment, there is so much that it doesn't explain. A lot of the time I found myself stuck. Occasionally I bought items or pieces of equipment that I thought would work together and they didn't. A really good example is I bought a trailer and a brand new tractor for $250,000, so that took a long time of saving up. Then I found that they weren't compatible. Luckily, I found out later on that you can use one of the weights and turn it around and put it onto the back, but and then you can hook up the trailer to the tractor. But without going on the internet to find that out, I was kind of stuck, so that was quite frustrating. Another negative is probably the kind of janky physics that this game has. Unfortunately, there can be some interesting moments where you bump into things, or the vehicle doesn't quite react in the way that you'd imagine it to. Sometimes things don't feel like they have the weight, that a huge hulking piece of machinery would have. But in general, it feels pretty good. One of the things I really like about this game is you can choose to do most of it or some of it. There are a few things that the workers cannot do, but if you don't want to do the harvesting, you can just set a worker doing it. What's pretty cool is that the AI will stop doing what it's doing if the harvester is full, and that allows you to go and empty it. But as soon as you've emptied it, the AI will continue doing its thing, and you can drive around and do other things. There are a few things the workers cannot do. They cannot go and collect straw on the ground. They can't drive alongside the harvester. You have to have the AI working as the harvester, and you have to tail it. And there are a few other points where the AI has some difficulty pathfinding. But in general, I'm quite impressed with it. There's a few sort of niggly things, but once you've got used to those, when you know there are certain places on your field that the AI has difficulty, you know to check that and just make sure that they've put the fertilizer down in the right place, or that they've seeded the entirety of the field. There is a ton of vehicles in this game. There's so many different vehicles to choose from, and that at first can be a little daunting, although the price tag does very much limit you to begin with on what you can and can't afford. What I haven't done yet is played the multiplayer, which I understand is one of the fun aspects if you can find people that are reliable and sort of like-minded players who want to play. And the other thing I haven't tried yet is the American-based map, which I think could be quite fun. It looks like it's got bigger fields. Obviously, you're probably going to focus more on maize and corn and that kind of thing. As I said at the start, I've been playing it for 45 hours, and I really don't feel like I've come close to the end game yet. Not to mention that I've only spent 45 hours in solo career. I don't have the biggest harvester, I don't have the biggest tractors or anything like that yet. I only own about 6 or 7 fields that I'm working different crops on. I haven't even tried out harvesting corn or potatoes yet. If someone asks me would I recommend it to them, that's a really tricky question. There is no real action. There is a bit of time pressure, but it's something that you can control. If you are really worried about your crops withering, you can turn that off in the options anyway. But yeah, it's not exactly fast-paced. I think if you maybe do a stressful job, maybe you're at school and you're stressed out from study or exams or anything like that, this is an absolutely brilliant game to kind of forget about concerns, worries, stress, and you just kind of sit back, put your farmer hat on, and you're basically going to just have some fun doing kind of mindless tasks. So in general, if you want a pretty stress-free gaming experience, I can heartily recommend Farming Simulator 2015. So that wraps up this overview commentary on my experience of playing Farming Simulator for the last week. 45 hours down, and I'm definitely going to be playing it a lot longer. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will be eternally grateful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.